Fame can open a lot of doors, but some of those doors should never be opened. Ghosts, curses, haunted homes. These celebrities weren't looking for the paranormal, but it found them anyway. From terrifying encounters to objects that bring nothing but bad luck, these stories are real, and they're way creepier than anything they've acted in. This is 6 celebrities who had real-life run-ins with the supernatural, and what happened when the lights went out. Keanu Reeves, one of the biggest celebrities of Hollywood, also known as the nicest celebrity, is famous for his roles in John Wick and The Matrix, and also Shadow in the new Sonic movie. But this is not about that. When Keanu was very young, he experienced something paranormal, a floating jacket. So here's how the story goes. He was around 6 or 7 years old, living in a New York apartment with his family and his nanny, Renata. His sister was asleep. It was just another regular night, nothing out of the ordinary. Keanu was sitting in a room with Renata talking when suddenly he saw it. A white, double-breasted suit jacket. It was floating, standing upright in the shape of a person. But there was no one inside, no arms, no legs, no head, just the jacket, gliding slowly across the room as if some invisible figure was wearing it. Keanu stared in silence, confused. He turned to Renata. She was frozen, wide-eyed, terrified. She saw it too. He thought it wasn't real until he turned to Renata and saw her reaction. The jacket kept moving across the room silently, until it disappeared. Years later, Keanu shared the experience in an interview saying,
Renata, nanny, in the bedroom. She's sitting, my sister's asleep, she's sitting over there, I'm like hanging out, there's a doorway. All of a sudden, we're looking over there and this like jacket comes waving through the doorway. Like just an empty, there's no head, there's no body, there's no legs, it's just there, and then it disappears. And I was a little kid and I thought, okay, well, that's interesting. And then I looked over at the nanny and she's like this. And I'm like, oh, wow, so that was real. Oh.
That moment stayed with him, not just because of what he saw, but because someone else saw it too. Someone older. What would you do in this situation? Comment down below. Ariana Grande is one of the most famous pop stars in the world, known for her powerful voice, sold-out tours, and polished image. But behind the spotlight lies a story that still haunts her to this day. It happened during a tour when Ariana decided to visit a place she had only heard about in dark legends and local whispers. Stull Cemetery in Kansas. Stull Cemetery is a small, unassuming graveyard tucked away in the quiet town of Stull, Kansas, population less than 50. But despite its peaceful appearance, it's earned a terrifying reputation. Locals have whispered about it for generations. They say a hidden staircase once led from the back of the cemetery straight down to hell. Others claim to have seen bizarre rituals, disappearing shadows, and creatures that don't belong in this world. At the center of the legend was a church ruin, abandoned, roofless, and crumbling. People said it couldn't be knocked down, that rain wouldn't fall inside it, and that screams could be heard echoing from below. That church has since been demolished. But the stories haven't stopped. Police often patrol the area, especially around Halloween, to keep thrill-seekers away. It's said that witches were buried there, that Satan himself appears in the graveyard, that nothing good survives within its gates. Ariana had always been fascinated by the paranormal. but nothing could have prepared her for what she felt when she arrived. She didn't even make it inside the cemetery. The moment she got close, something changed. She said the air smelled like sulfur, a scent often associated with demonic presence. Then came the feeling, a deep, sick, overwhelming sense of negativity, like something was pressing down on her chest, watching her, following her. She wanted to leave, but before turning back, she whispered, "Sorry," just in case anything was listening. Later that night, things got worse. Back at her hotel, Ariana tried to brush it off, but she started hearing whispers as she fell asleep. Soft, muffled, but real. Then, figures appeared. Shadowy, unclear, but with faces she described as disturbing, demonic. That's when she decided to take a picture. When she looked at the image, her blood ran cold. The photo showed what she called black matter, a thick darkness, and in the middle of it 3 faces. None of them were hers. She showed the image to her team. They were shocked. And when she tried to send the file to her manager, her phone gave an error message. "This file cannot be sent. File size 666 MB. That was the breaking point. Ariana deleted the photo. She didn't want whatever was attached to it to follow her any further. And even after that, the feeling lingered. That heavy presence, that pressure. It didn't leave right away. In interviews, she avoided going too deep into the story. She never returned to another haunted location. And she doesn't talk about the cemetery anymore. Stull Cemetery is known for these kinds of cases, so this story might be true. Post Malone, the popular American singer known for blending genres like hip-hop, pop, and country, is also not safe from the strange world of the paranormal. He has also had some scary paranormal experiences which we are going to discuss right now. On a podcast with H3H3, Post discussed his paranormal experience. Post Malone says that he knew a guy who lived close to his home, in Grapevine, Texas. He used to go there at his friend's house every once in a while, kind of thing. His friend's dad was a contractor, so they had a very big house.
First night I went there, his dad was like a contractor or something, lived in a very nice big house.
He went on to say that the house had a very big living area with high ceilings, probably 20, 30 feet high. There was a winding staircase that took you up to the top deck. When you went up the stairs, there was a recreational area which overlooked the living room.
That overlooks...
That overlooks the
You go
living
up
room.
the stairs, you have a recreational area that overlooks the entrance.
Yeah.
Got it.
So the first time he went there for a sleepover, he was on the upper floor. He was sleeping there late night. Since it was his first time there, they just had a couch up there, where he took his slumber. And a precursor to the plot of the story. The mum, the dad, the 2 sons, used to lock themselves together in a room every night, even though they had multiple rooms. But since they were terrified from the happenings of the house, this was their daily routine every night.
The whole family, the mom, the dad, and the 2 sons locked themselves in their room together every night.
What?
Yeah.
Well, no wonder you're scared.
Post claims that the house was built, meaning they didn't buy it pre-owned. So it wasn't affected by the typical horror scenario in which the house is affected by the past owner's energy or spirits. Which means that it could have been built on a dark place, for example, an ancient Indian burial site or something of that nature.
Like
Indian burial ground.
yeah,
so-
I mean shit like that.
Right.
You know, without overgeneralizing it and too
That's the
cliche.
classic.
Exactly.
So, okay.
Something like that.
Okay, Continuing with the story, while he was sleeping on the couch, he heard a loud boom, like if you were to drop a huge bowling ball on a marble floor. He heard this sound beneath him, which terrified the heck out of him. So after he was done with the sleepover, he went home. By the way, he was 14 at that time.
I was sleeping on the couch, and like, so say if you dropped a bowling ball on a marble floor, that sound that it would make.
So the next time he got to the house, like the next weekend, after discussing this incident with his friend, they knew that something crazy was going on in that house. He and his friend were sitting down. Suddenly they heard a loud boom behind them. They knew that this thing, or whatever it was insanely creepy. But they were curious. They wanted to figure out what was causing these strange occurrences. They couldn't find anything, so they decided to ignore it. But the loud boom started getting closer.
We sit down and then we hear like a noise, like a stomp, like a boom, right behind us. But let's keep on playing. And then it gets fucking closer. And then we're just like, okay, fuck this. We go into the corner.
At this point, they just spent their night in the corner to avoid it. But all night, it sounded like an animal, like a cat being thrown over and over again against the wall, going crazy.
Hang out all night. The cat sounds like she's getting thrown against
Animals
the wall,
make
dying.
things scarier.
Like dying, like going crazy, like all that shit.
They stayed up until the next morning, when their parents came to pick them up. The next time Post went there, he was determined to figure shit out. He wanted to get to the bottom of this. He got a white noise machine, which plays static noise at different frequencies until it gets disrupted by disembodied voices.
Okay, let's get to the bottom of this.
Right,
shit.
right.
So I downloaded a white noise machine.
What is that?
It's like it just plays static at different frequencies.
They went upstairs. He started his white noise machine. He started feeling sick to his stomach. Out of nowhere, he got cold shivers, a bad headache. It seemed like he had a severe flu. But every time he went downstairs, he would feel better. He also turned on the white noise machine at the ground floor, but it was completely normal. It was only when he turned it on upstairs he would start to feel sick again.
We went upstairs. I started feeling like sick. Like literally like the sickest I could ever fucking be. Like
Just out of nowhere.
His friend later also told him that they had cameras installed all over the property, and they could see white walkers, like completely white figures with no features, walking across the property.
They would see people walking along the edge of the woods.
That's creepy.
Like white, like bright people.
White walkers.
The neighbors had a lot of dogs, and they started going crazy at those white figures all night. When Post and his friends were out the windows, they could see those white figures all night at the edge of the woods.
And still looking at the window and shit, and there's fucking like 4 people on the edge of the woods just fucking sitting there. Like for all night.
But they're like white.
All
They're like
night?
According to Post, this was the most terrifying paranormal experience of his life. Have you ever wondered what kind of ghost stories Hollywood's wildest actor might have hidden away? Nicolas Cage isn't just known for stealing the Declaration of Independence or riding flaming motorcycles. He's also had a real-life brush with the paranormal that left even him shaken. And this isn't a movie script, this actually happened. Let's go back to 2007. At the height of his career, when he was making millions and choosing some of the strangest roles ever seen on film,
I saw a used gun.
A used gun.
Nicolas Cage did something even stranger. He bought one of the most haunted houses in the United States, the LaLaurie Mansion in New Orleans. To outsiders, this move seemed like another eccentric choice in a long line of bizarre Cage decisions. But to Cage, it had purpose. He said he wanted a quiet place to write a horror novel. Instead, he got something else. A first-hand experience with terror that would never make it into a book. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the LaLaurie Mansion, here's why this place isn't just spooky. It's straight up infamous. Back in the 1800s, it was the home of Madame Delphine LaLaurie. To high society, she was just another wealthy socialite. But behind closed doors, she was committing atrocities so horrific, they shocked even the hardened citizens of old New Orleans. In 1834, a fire led authorities to a hidden chamber in the mansion where enslaved people had been tortured and mutilated. The story made national headlines. Madame LaLaurie fled, never to be seen again. And the house? It never healed. Over the decades, countless people claimed to see shadowy figures, hear screams in the night, and feel sudden drops in temperature as if someone or something was still there, angry and waiting. So Cage buys this house, doesn't move in, doesn't renovate, just holds on to it like a cursed relic. But one night everything changed. He brought a small group of friends along with a psychic to explore the property. Things were quiet at first, dusty hallways, faint creaks, faded wallpaper, just a decaying reminder of New Orleans' darker past. But then they entered the upstairs study, and that's when it hit. The temperature dropped so drastically, Cage said it felt like he'd stepped into a freezer. Suddenly, the psychic screamed. She pointed behind Cage and said, "She's here." When asked who she meant, the psychic described a woman in period clothing, pale skin, hollow eyes, just standing behind him, watching. Everyone turned around, but there was nothing. Cage didn't laugh it off. He didn't make a joke. He just stood there, frozen. Later, he would say that he couldn't shake the feeling of being followed for days. Worse yet, he started having recurring nightmares. In them, he was trapped inside the mansion trying to escape as ghostly whispers echoed around him. Doors would slam shut, chains would drag, and no matter how many exits he found, something always pulled him back in. Soon after, he sold the house, quietly, quickly. No interviews, no statement, just gone. But here's where things really get eerie. After Cage bought the LaLaurie Mansion, his life began to unravel. He faced massive financial issues, lost multiple properties, and saw his Hollywood star begin to fade. It was like a slow spiral, and it all seemed to begin after his time in that house. Coincidence? Maybe. But here's the twist. Nearly every owner of the LaLaurie Mansion since the 1800s has suffered some kind of personal ruin, bankruptcy, public disgrace, even unexplained health issues. Some locals believe the mansion doesn't just remember pain, it passes it on. What do you think? Did Cage actually experience something supernatural? Or was it all in his mind? Let us know in the comments. Maybe the real horror isn't what you see. It's what stays with you after you leave. And remember, some stories are stranger than fiction.
I can buy myself flowers.
For the last part of this video, we're looking at the paranormal experience of Miley Cyrus. While in a historical apartment in London, she's said to have had many scary dreams and nightmares, and claimed that the apartment was haunted. In one of her ghostly encounters, she said that one night, her little sister was standing in the shower when all of a sudden, she heard her scream. The shower had somehow flipped to extremely hot all by itself. It's not like the water had just changed. The knob was turned all the way to hot even though she hadn't touched it. She came out of the shower all red and pretty burning. In another one of her encounters, she said that while in a bathroom she saw a boy sitting on the sink, kicking his feet and watching her while she was having a shower. Her family members said to have seen doors and windows opening all by themselves. Her fiancé, Liam Hemsworth, also added his experiences after the shower incident. There is no surprise here that all this freaked her out and made her say that she wouldn't stay there ever again. Celebrities have long shared mysterious encounters with the paranormal, claims of haunted hotels, ghostly figures on set, or inexplicable sounds in lavish mansions. While these stories capture the public's imagination, the realism of such claims is debated. Some suggest they stem from heightened stress, suggestion, or publicity tactics, while others believe fame might make individuals more open to unexplainable phenomena. Ultimately, the truth behind these tales remains as elusive as the spirits they describe.